What if the worst thing you've ever felt came back and stood silently in your yard? No words, no movement, just a figure watching, waiting. The Woman in the Yard isn't your typical horror movie. It doesn't scream, it whispers, and what it says is terrifying. This is a psychological horror that digs deep into grief, trauma, and the kind of pain we don't talk about. It stars the brilliant Danielle Deadwyler, who plays a mother trying to keep her life together until a silent, strange woman appears just beyond her window. Who is she? Why won't she speak? And what does she want? In this video, we'll uncover the true meaning behind the story. You'll learn how the film blends emotional terror with symbolic horror. We'll explain the hidden messages, the mysterious clues, and the chilling ending that left so many viewers stunned. We're not just summarizing the movie, we're peeling back its layers, from psychological themes to eerie metaphors you might have missed. So, if you're ready to step into a story where grief takes form and never leaves, stay with us till the end. Welcome to Movies Review, your home for deep dives, sharp insights, and unforgettable films. Make sure to hit subscribe because we're just getting started. From the very first frame, The Woman in the Yard establishes a feeling of quiet dread. There are no flashy lights, no loud scares, and no chaotic music. Instead, the film creates tension through silence, shadows, and stillness. It's the kind of horror that creeps under your skin slowly. The setting itself, a quiet, isolated farmhouse, becomes a character. Every creak of the floor, every flicker of light, and every long pause stretches the suspense. The camera doesn't rush, it lingers, it watches. And in that stillness, it forces the viewer to look deeper. This isn't a film that jumps out at you. It waits patiently, letting the horror build inside your own mind. The fear comes from what's not being said, from glances, from expressions, from long silences where nothing happens but everything feels wrong. This is a psychological style of storytelling. The dread comes from inside the characters. The woman in black barely moves, yet her presence fills the screen. The pacing is deliberately slow, which may not suit everyone, but that's the point. The film wants you to sit with the discomfort, to feel what Ramona feels: isolation, pressure, and emotional fatigue. This unique style sets it apart from most horror films today and gives it a haunting, dreamlike tone that lingers long after it ends. At its core, The Woman in the Yard is not about ghosts or monsters. It's about grief, about guilt, and how the things we try to bury deep inside us never really stay buried. The silent woman who appears in Ramona's yard isn't just a stranger. She's a symbol, a living shadow of the pain Ramona carries every day. She represents emotional wounds that won't heal. Ramona is a widow, left alone to care for her children after tragedy. But she's not just sad, she's broken. The film explores how trauma doesn't always look loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it shows up as a figure outside your window, standing still, saying nothing, refusing to leave. The Woman in Black is like a mirror, reflecting everything Ramona refuses to confront. This movie also touches on mental health in a subtle but powerful way. It questions what's real and what's imagined. Is the woman really there, or is she a projection of Ramona's guilt? That's left for the audience to decide. But the message is clear. The scariest things often live inside us. The true horror isn't what happens to us, it's how we carry it. And sometimes that burden becomes unbearable. Danielle Deadwyler's performance is the soul of this movie. She doesn't just play Ramona, she becomes her. With very little dialogue, she expresses a world of emotion through her eyes, her posture, and her silence. You feel her sadness, her fear, her helplessness. She carries the film on her shoulders and does it beautifully. The direction matches that emotional tone perfectly. The filmmakers chose a minimalistic style, focusing on mood over action. Long takes, dim lighting, and soft sound design create a quiet intensity that feels almost suffocating. Every choice, from the camera angles to the color palette, adds to the sense of emotional heaviness. This is not a movie that tells you what to feel, it shows you. It lets you sit with Ramona's pain. Some viewers may find it too slow, especially if they're expecting a more traditional horror experience. But the slowness is intentional. It's what makes the emotional impact so strong. You're not just watching fear, you're feeling it build, layer by layer. The direction and performance work hand in hand to create something raw, personal, and quietly terrifying. It's a horror film, yes, but one that uses emotional realism as its most powerful weapon. Every film has its strengths and weaknesses, and The Woman in the Yard is no exception. One of its biggest strengths is its fresh approach to horror. It doesn't rely on cheap scares or loud noises. Instead, it focuses on emotional storytelling. It asks real questions. What does grief look like? What does guilt feel like when it never leaves? That depth gives the movie a serious edge over many horror films that are only interested in surface-level shocks. Another major strength is Danielle Deadwyler's lead performance. Her portrayal of Ramona is haunting, raw, and deeply human. She doesn't need many words to make you feel everything her character is going through, and that's rare. It's a reminder that sometimes silence can be more powerful than screaming. But there are weaknesses too. The pacing is slow, very slow. For some viewers, it might feel like not much is happening. The film takes its time building atmosphere. And if you're not invested in the emotional journey, it could feel dragging. Also, some plot elements are left vague. Certain clues are open to interpretation, and that might frustrate viewers who prefer clear answers. And then there's the ending. It's open-ended, symbolic, and mysterious. While that works thematically, it might leave some people unsatisfied. It doesn't tie everything up neatly. But maybe that's the point. Life, trauma, and grief rarely give us closure. The ending of The Woman in the Yard leaves viewers with more questions than answers, and that's exactly what makes it powerful. It doesn't offer a final explanation or a dramatic twist. Instead, it fades out on an emotional and symbolic note, allowing each person to draw their own conclusions. Throughout the film, there are subtle clues that hint at deeper meanings: the woman's silent presence, the repeated imagery, the feeling that reality is slipping. All of it builds toward an ending that isn't meant to be fully understood, it's meant to be felt. Was the woman in black real? Was she a ghost, a hallucination, or something entirely symbolic? The film refuses to say. This leaves viewers in a strange space, unsure of what just happened, but deeply moved by it. And that's what makes the film stick. It doesn't wrap everything up in a bow. It lingers like grief itself. It invites you to think, reflect, and maybe even see parts of yourself in Ramona's experience. Some viewers may find the lack of clear resolution frustrating, but for others, the ambiguity is what makes the film unforgettable. It trusts the audience to connect the dots, or not. Either way, the final moments deliver a powerful, emotional echo that stays long after the credits roll. The Woman in the Yard isn't just a horror film, it's a slow, haunting journey into the human mind. It explores emotions we often keep hidden, grief that doesn't fade, guilt that never lets go, and the silence we carry when words aren't enough. It's not loud or action-packed, it's quiet, still, and deeply unsettling. This is a film that takes its time. It's not meant to entertain in a traditional way, it's meant to make you feel, to reflect, to sit with uncomfortable emotions. That's what gives it such powerful psychological depth. It pulls you into Ramona's world, one where fear doesn't wear a mask or make noise. It just stands still, watching, waiting. Now, this kind of storytelling isn't for everyone. If you enjoy fast-paced horror with clear answers, this film might leave you confused or even frustrated. But if you appreciate layered, thought-provoking cinema that speaks through silence and symbolism, this one will stay with you. Because in the end, the scariest thing isn't always a ghost. Sometimes, the most terrifying thing is your own mind. If this breakdown helped you understand the story better or gave you something to think about, don't forget to like this video. It really helps us grow. And for more deep dives into mysterious and mind-bending films, subscribe to Movies Review. We bring you hidden meanings, emotional stories, and the kind of horror that leaves a mark. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes silence says everything.